if you take a look at Indra Sawhney Judgment, it was a 9-judge bench. It was a 9-judge bench judgment given by the Supreme Court. And let's say, for example, if I am to analyze the important parts of this judgment, if I am to, let's say, for example, analyze the important parts of this judgment, I can think of it in 4 categories. 25% other backward classes reservations is constitutionally valid. 27% other backward classes reservation is constitutionally valid. This is the first judgment. OBC are to be divided into creamy and non-creamy layer. Okay. Third, there is a 50%, and fourth, okay, just take a look at these 4 elements again, like a typical multiple choice question. It can be asked with you. What are the main features of the Indra Sawhney judgment given by a 9-judge bench of the Supreme Court in 1992, in which, as we have seen it, that the reservation policy of the VP Singh government, which had given the reservation policy in 1990, this policy was challenged before the Supreme Court in the Indra Sawhney case. And the 4, what you can say, observations made by the Supreme Court in the Indra Sawhney case are given like this. 27% OBC reservation is constitutionally valid. OBC are to be divided into creamy and non-creamy layer. 50% ceiling limit of total seats in the reserved categories, and 10% EWS is unconstitutional. These are the 4 elements which are given under the Indra Sawhney case. Which means, let's say, for example, if a question is asked that if the validity 27% OBC को अगर 26 करना है आपको, या 25 करना है, 24 करना है, 26, 28 करना है, 29 करना है, तो आपको इंदिरा साहनी जजमेंट से ऊपर वाली बेंच का जजमेंट चाहिए. You have to get a 11-judge bench of the Supreme Court to make 27 26.5. You get the point? Or to remove OBCs altogether. Unless you have a 11-judge bench of the Supreme Court which can overrule the Indra Sawhney judgment, OBC reservations cannot move from 27% to 26.9%. They have been fixed at 27% by Indira Gandhi. In Indra Sawhney, they can be moved beyond 27%, but they cannot be moved lower than 27%. Second, this legendary rule of the 50% ceiling limit was actually instituted by the Indra Sawhney judgment in the Supreme Court case. Third, the division between the creamy layer and the non-creamy layer of the other backward classes was also instituted by the Indra Sawhney judgment. And fourth, economically weaker sections, which was first introduced in the 1990 policy of the VP Singh government, was struck down as unconstitutional by the Indra Sawhney judgment in 1992. Okay, so these are 4, what you can say, important aspect of the Indra Sawhney judgment that you can take a look at in terms of understanding this entire scenario. So the concept is, of course, we know for a fact, right? Let's say that the %10 EWS quota was first introduced by the VP Singh government in 1990. The 10% EWS quota was first introduced by the VP Singh government in 1990, but it was struck down by the Supreme Court in the Indra Sawhney case. As unconstitutional. Well, yes, initially this percentage was only for public employment, but later on it was also made for educational institutions, for both the categories. Okay, so this is the Indra Sawhney judgment. Just keep noting the points. These are all prelims material. इसी से question ऐसे बन के आ जाता है sentence wise.